Alright, in this video I'm going to share with you something that's been really quite transformative for me in the past 6 months. And it's something that comes directly from this text, and it's something that I've been learning and applying to my own life. If you're someone who's interested in, martial arts or yoga or meditation or, personal development, self-development, self-cultivation, or, consciousness expansion, in my opinion, it's something you definitely need to hear. And it's something that if you don't know and you don't understand, you're just going to be a hamster on a wheel just running in circles and really not getting progress and experiencing a lot more struggle and strife and pain than is really necessary. So what we're going to talk about is what is self-development and what it is not. So commonly when we think of self-development or cultivation or expanding our consciousness, it's usually some form of really suppressing our drives or becoming a good person or a better person or becoming spiritual or really filling some sort of predetermined mold that's already existing in society. So, for example, we say, oh, well, I'm really not a nice person, or I'm really kind of selfish, so I got to be selfless, or I really think about myself too much, so I got to give away all my stuff. And then I'll be a better person, and that'll make me good, and then I'm one step closer to whatever it is that I'm chasing for. So really, that is not accurate, and that is just holding us back and creating more trouble for us and more work in the long run, and really just putting us on a hamster wheel and just keeping us going, and really we're not getting anywhere. So now, why is this true? And then what's the solution? So how and why this happens is basically what it boils down to is we're born with an inherent inner truth, an inherent knowingness or inherent intelligence in our body. Now this might sound weird or airy-fairy, but when you think about it, we have trillions and trillions of cells, and contained in each one of those cells is a lot of DNA, which contains a lot of information which has been passed on for a long time. And I can't remember the exact number, but each piece of DNA, if you unwound it, is actually quite large, and you got to think that's a lot of information, that's a lot of intelligence that's stored within your body. So basically we're born with this inner intelligence that knows what to do, and that in and of itself is capable for dealing with life, for coping with life. But what happens is society says, hey, actually you're not good. You're dirty, you're stained, you're born with this original sin. Maybe at one time you were good, and maybe in the future you can be good, but actually you're not. Something's wrong with your nature. Either you need to give yourself to God, or you need to beg for forgiveness, or you need to be cleansed of your sins, or whatever the story is. You need to purify to become enlightened, or you need to cleanse your toxins. Whatever the metaphor is or the myth is, it's all the same original sin, which says, hey, in and of themselves, we're not okay, we're not good, we're not capable of coping with life, and we're really not even, we're not even sure why we're here. We feel like an alien. We feel like we're just kind of thrown into this weird world, and we feel disconnected, and we don't feel like that we actually belong, and we're actually a part of nature. But in reality, we are part of nature. We come out of nature just like everything else. We belong here, and in and of themselves, we're okay. Nature doesn't need religion. Nature doesn't need systems. It doesn't need yoga. It doesn't need meditation. It doesn't need words. It doesn't need all of these things, because it just knows what to do, because it has that inherent intelligence. Whether that's wild animals, or whether that's water, or whether that's the wind or the clouds, or all of these things, they're in and of themselves capable. And in reality, that same intelligence is within us and flows through us if we allow it, and if we can remove the blockages from it. So again, that's how and why that happens, and how and why we get sucked into thinking that self-development is just, filling some sort of predefined mold or becoming something we're not. So self-development is not perfecting virtues. It's not, this hard work, this arduous task that we think it is, and that's often just marketed as. And this just really feels like a burden, and that's why people don't really want to do it. And that's kind of why people that do it tend to get a big head and think, I'm this selfless person, I'm open to my heart chakra, 3 times a day I think nice things about other people, but actually the rest of the day I'm actually still thinking about myself and being selfish. And that's usually what happens, but we get so sucked into a self-image, we identify with it, and we get blinders on our eyes that we forget actually it's not really what the whole thing is about. So self-development is actually the systematic deprogramming of aspects of the ego which keep our true self hidden, which keep our true intelligence blocked, and which keep us blocked from nourishment that's coming from the cosmos, from intelligence, from guidance that is available to us and able to be accessed at any given time. So that's in stark contrast to the kind of collective ego definition of you got to perfect these virtues, you got to become something you're not, you got to take this, junk body that your spirit's trapped in and, either transcend out of it or make it your master, or become its master and make it your slave. These kinds of things which just really put us on the hamster wheel. So again, self-development is a systematic deprogramming of aspects of the ego which keep our true self hidden. And if you are a fan of Lao Tzu or Taoism or the Tao Te Ching, he says basically the learning man or the scholar or the worldly man learns something every day, meaning it's just always about accumulating and gathering and just getting and taking. Whereas the man of Tao, or the man of self-development or the way or cultivation, unlearns something every day, which basically means he's just letting go of aspects of his psyche, of his ego, of his consciousness, of his life that's really blocking nourishment and blocking connection and blocking energy and chi from flowing. So how this works and how it all comes together is that through the systematic deprogramming of aspects of our ego which block energy, which block all these things, we then start to have our true self start to be more in control or more, guiding the ship of our body, and we're less possessed by these demonic elements of consciousness, which, if that sounds weird, next time you see someone react or go off temper or just flip their personality in an instant, observe them and say, does it really look like maybe they're just possessed by some sort of demon? You might know someone and they're walking along and they're very cheerful, they're very happy, but then you say the wrong thing and then they flip on you and you're like, what just happened? How did they go from over here all the way over here in just an instant? And it's just because we have these sometimes just kind of essentially demonic elements in our consciousness which just take control of us. So what happens is we deprogram these things over time, let them go, and then our true self starts to get more in alignment, in harmony, in control, and we're more aligned with the natural intelligence that's within us, which then in a sense puts us in more harmony with the greater cosmos and with the natural flow of reality. And then all the things that we want in our life tend to start showing up, tend to start happening. The feelings we want to experience, the people we want to connect with, the material goods we want, it all starts to come and flow together. And it's really not that hard. And it's not about doing and striving and achieving and accumulating and becoming. It's really just about removing the blocks, deprogramming and letting go and just aligning with what is actually already inside of you and realizing that in and of yourself, you're okay and you're capable of dealing with life and you have the things you need, and in and of yourself, you're okay. And the whole idea of the original sin and the original stain that supposedly someone said is on your consciousness is just something someone made up to instill different programs of control within you, and it doesn't mean they're real. And at any given time, we can choose to not believe them, we can choose to not give them power, and we can choose something else. We can choose to let them go and then align with our true self, which then allows everything else that we're wanting to experience to happen. So that's something that's been really, really quite powerful for me, and it's something that will be quite challenging to you if you believe that humans are born, bad and that we have to become good. So it really goes to the existential root of, do you really believe that humans are born good or are they born bad? Just something else to think about. So again, that's what self-development is according to the I Ching. I've been working with this for the last 6 months. It's been really helpful. It's really helped me let go of a lot of things and just expand in a lot of ways and just feel better. So hopefully it helps you. And if you have any questions or comments, post them below, and I'll talk to you soon.